Hello, everyone. Sometimes husbands confuse their wives with interest-free loans and their fridge with humanitarian aid. The hero of this story decided that feeding his mom at his wife's expense was a noble act. But he forgot that a hungry woman is a terrifying thing. The fridge door popped open with a suck of the seal, and the light hit the empty glass shelves. Larissa blinked. She thought she had gone blind from exhaustion, or that it was some kind of hologram, a glitch in the matrix. She closed the fridge and stood there for a second, listening to the compressor, humming, straining, as if complaining about the pointlessness of its existence. She opened it again. The emptiness was sterile. Gone was not just the strategic pot of yesterday's borscht and the container with turkey patties, but the small things too. The piece of Parmesan she had bought on sale and hidden in the back behind the mustard jar was gone. The mustard itself was gone. The stick of smoked sausage bought in case guests showed up had vanished. There were no eggs, no milk, not even the opened pack of butter. In the vegetable bin, a shriveled half of a lemon lay all alone. Apparently it hadn't passed quality control. Larissa shifted her gaze to the kitchen table. Clean, not a single crumb. The dishwasher purred quietly, finishing off the evidence. The sounds of gunfire and synthetic screams of dying aliens wafted from the living room. Vadim? Larissa's voice didn't waver, but it sounded muffled, as if coming from inside a barrel. The game sounds didn't fade. She walked into the room. Her husband, a 30-year-old man with signs of a receding hairline and a promising belly, sat in a deep bean-bag chair. Something was exploding on the TV screen. He didn't even turn his head. "Vadim, where is the food?" she asked louder. He pressed pause. The screen froze. Vadim took off his headphones, but only from one ear, showing, with his whole demeanor, how poorly she was invading his complex inner world. "Why are you yelling?" He winced. Mom called. Her blood pressure spiked. She says she can't get to the store, her legs are swollen. So I gathered what was there. What was there? Larissa felt a cold rage boiling inside her. "You cleaned everything out?" "It's empty. Vadim, I have nothing for breakfast, let alone dinner." "Oh, come on." He waved his hand, pulling the headphone back on. "Don't be so dramatic. You have your card with you. Order pizza or those sushi things of yours." Mom needs it more. She's a pensioner. "And you, young mare, can run to the store." Young mare. Larissa turned around slowly and left the room. She wanted to go back and shove those headphones onto his head along with the TV, but she just went to the bedroom and sat on the bed without undressing. Her stomach rumbled. After a 12-hour shift at the dental clinic, where she dealt with patients' tantrums, juggled doctors' schedules, and smiled so hard her cheekbones ached, she just wanted to eat some borscht and go to sleep. Now Zinaida Pavlovna was eating the borscht. Larissa grabbed her phone and opened her bank app. The last transaction. Lenta supermarket 3 hours ago. Amount 5,800 rubles? Wait. If he took the groceries from the fridge, why was he at Lenta? She opened the transaction details. King prawns, red caviar on sale. Signature Napoleon cake. Whiskey 0.5 liter. The puzzle clicked into place with an unpleasant snap. He didn't just give Mom the leftovers, he put on a show of unprecedented generosity at her expense and grabbed the home supplies for good measure just to be efficient. Vadim hadn't worked for half a year. His startup reselling smart shoe insoles crashed and burned, taking their vacation savings down with it. Since then, he had been in a phase of market analysis and self-discovery. Self-discovery involved daily raids on the fridge and playing Call of Duty until 4 a.m. Larissa endured it. Anything can happen in a family, her mom used to say. Her mom is normal. You have to support a man in a crisis. But the crisis dragged on, and the support began to look like parasitism. The next morning, Larissa left for work having only had coffee without milk. Vadim was sleeping, sprawled out on the bed like a starfish. His snoring shook the walls. The Dent Plus clinic greeted her with its familiar smell of antiseptic and the hum of air conditioners. Larissa Dmitrievna, there's a scandal with Orlov? The receptionist Sveta said from the doorway. A girl with the frightened eyes of a fawn. The patient is demanding a refund for his implant. He says it doesn't shine the right way. I'll handle it. Larissa tossed her bag in her office and put on her professional smile like a suit of armor. She spent the whole day running like a hamster in a wheel, calming down a suspicious patient, rearranging the schedule due to an ill surgeon, and ordering supplies. During the break, she chewed on a dry cracker she found in the drawer. At lunch, Ella Markovna, their regular client and owner of a chain of beauty salons, stopped by. A tough, blunt lady, with a voice you could use to drive piles. Larochka, why are you looking so pale? She asked, examining her fresh veneer in a small mirror. Is your man sucking your blood, or is your hemoglobin low? Probably both, Larissa muttered, sorting through the invoices. You have to train a man. Ella Markovna snapped her fingers. Or dump him. I kicked my second one out when he decided that my car was our car and his debts were our karma. I don't like it when they confuse my pocket with the common fund. But what if he thinks it's noble, helping his mom? At your expense? Ella Markovna scoffed. That's not nobility, honey. That's theft with a side of PR. He's buying himself a halo as a good son, on your dime. Do you know how that's cured? How? By turning off the tap completely, putting him on short rations, and a public flogging, figuratively speaking, of course. Larissa became thoughtful. In the evening, she didn't go home right away. She stopped by the bank, reissued her card, and blocked the old one. Then she went to a phone shop and changed the home Wi-Fi password. She returned home with 2 bags. One contained good, expensive food, steaks, vegetables, fruit, the other, a bottle of wine. Vadim met her in the hallway. He looked dissatisfied. The net is down, he announced instead of saying hello. I called the provider, but it's just an answering machine. Did you pay? I paid, Larissa said calmly, walking into the kitchen. Probably a glitch. She began unpacking the groceries. Vadim leaned against the doorframe, watching the steaks with a hungry glint in his eyes. Oh, meat, he brightened up. Excellent. I got hungry while wrestling with the router. Ooh, make it rare. Larissa silently put the steaks in the fridge's 0-degree zone, took out an apple, washed it, and took a hearty bite. Vadim, she said while chewing, did you go to the interview today? I thought you said you submitted a resume to a logistics company. Nah, that's a dead end. He dismissed it. The pay is under the table, and the office is in an industrial zone. I didn't get a higher education to dig around in the dirt. I'm working on a project right now. Crypto. It has insane potential. I see. She took the bag with the wine and went to the living room. Hey, what about dinner? He shouted after her. Go have dinner with Mom, she replied without turning around. You took her so much stuff, she'll surely treat you to borscht. It's not funny, Lar. I'm seriously hungry. I was too yesterday, and this morning. Vadim scowled and paced around the kitchen, slamming cupboard doors. It was empty, just grains and pasta. He boiled some macaroni, smothered it in ketchup, the last thing left, and ate it, chewing demonstratively. The next 2 days were spent in a state of Cold War. Larissa ate at work or at a cafe. At home, she drank tea and ignored his questions about dinner. The Wi-Fi still wasn't fixed. Vadim was stuck on mobile data, which ran out quickly, and he fumed. You're acting like a hysteric hirik, he declared on Friday evening. I thought you were above this. He stood in the middle of the kitchen in his underwear, scratching his stomach. Larissa was busy making a grocery list for the week. It's petty to steal cheese from your wife, Vadim. I'm just optimizing the budget. Since you've taken on supporting Mom, I'm taking on supporting myself. Everything is fair. I can't work as a manual laborer, he squealed unexpectedly loud. I need inspiration. I need support at home. But you're cutting off my oxygen. Inspiration feeds on carbohydrates, Larissa specified. Larissa had the day off on Saturday morning. She planned to sleep in, but at 9 a.m. the phone rang. Zinaida Pavlovna. Larashka, good morning. Mother-in-law's voice dripped with honey, which was a bad sign. Usually, she called to complain about the government, the weather, or Larissa herself. Are you at home? At home, Zinaida Pavlovna. Has something happened? Oh, no, I was just thinking. Vadik said you're having some trouble with the internet. And my aunt Valia just arrived from Sizran, and she brought some goodies. Maybe you can drop by? Let's chat and have some tea? Vadik hasn't visited in so long. Hasn't visited properly. Hasn't visited with his wife properly. And food raids don't count as proper. Vadim is asleep, Larissa said. But wake him up, dear. It's a family matter. Aunt Valia is asking about you. Larissa looked at her sleeping husband. Saliva glistened in his open mouth. Okay, she said. We'll be there in an hour. She shook Vadim awake. Get up, we're going to Mom's. Why? He blinked sleepily. I don't want to. Aunt Valia has arrived, and it seems your mom wants to feed us. You're hungry, aren't you? The mention of food acted like a starter. Vadim jumped up, shaved quickly for the first time in a week, and even put on a clean shirt. On the way, he was suspiciously cheerful. See, he rambled while driving. Well, the car was Larissa's, but he drove it more often. Mom understands everything. She wants to mend our relationship. You are too strict with her. She is an old woman. She needs attention. Larissa looked out the window. The city drifted by. Gray, dusty, endless. She felt strangely calm, like before a parachute jump. The decision was made, and now she just had to pull the ripcord. Zenaida Pavlovna's apartment greeted them with the smell of pies and shoe polish. Aunt Valia loved to polish shoes. Zenaida Pavlovna herself, a busty woman with a bouffant hairstyle resembling cotton candy, kissed her son and gave a dry nod to her daughter-in-law. Aunt Valia turned out to be a small, wiry old woman with a sharp gaze. "And here is our breadwinner," Zenaida Pavlovna exclaimed, clapping her hands and seating Vadim at the head of the table. "My God, he's so thin!" "And Larissa, are you not feeding your husband at all?" "He's on a diet," Larissa smiled. "A cryptocurrency one." Vadim chuckled, piling Olivier salad onto his plate. The table was groaning. Cabbage pies, aspic, cold cuts. Those very cold cuts. Larissa recognized the sausage. Braunschweiger, premium quality. She had bought it for her birthday, which was in 3 days. Blue cheese, a jar of caviar, she had set aside for New Year's. Yes, ahead of time, on sale. All these groceries lay on Zenaida Pavlovna's table like trophies. "Eat, son, eat," the mother. "Otherwise you're working yourself to the bone, I'm sure. Everything for the home, everything for the home." Larissa choked on her tea. "What home, may I ask?" she asked. "What do you mean, what home?" Zenaida Pavlovna was surprised. "Yours, of course. Vadik was telling me about the project he's working on now. He says investors are lining up. Just last week he brought a whole bag of groceries. He said, 'Mom, this is my bonus. Help yourself.' He's so thoughtful, just like his father." Larissa looked at her husband. Vadim froze with his fork at his mouth. His eyes darted around. "Mom, why are you doing this?" he muttered. "It's just a small thing." "It's no small thing," Aunt Valia chimed in. "Young people today only think of themselves, but Vadim is a gem. He brought caviar and that stinky cheese, too. It must have been expensive." Larissa slowly put down her fork. "A bonus, you say?" she asked quietly. Vadim kicked her under the table. "Lara, let's talk later," he hissed through his teeth. "No, why later?" Larissa raised her voice. "Let's celebrate Vadim right now." Yeah. "Zenaida Pavlovna, do you even know what kind of investors those are?" "Larissa." Vadim jumped up, knocking over his glass of liqueur. A red stain spread across the white tablecloth. "I have to pause here and comment on this. He hasn't worked for 6 months, living off his wife. He secretly steals food for his mom and then lies about a bonus. Then he demands that his wife play along with this performance. Please write honestly. Would you have the patience not to dump this salad on his head right now?" But we continue. "Sit down," Larissa said. Calmly, so he sat down. "Zenaida Pavlovna," she continued, looking her mother-in-law straight in the eyes. "Your son hasn't worked for 6 months. He hasn't brought home a single penny. He lives at my expense. He eats at my expense. I pay the rent. I pay for the gas." Silence hung in the room. You could hear the ticking of the wall clock. "What are you making up?" the mother-in-law muttered, confused. "Vadik said it, Vadik." Larissa cut her off. The groceries you are eating right now, he cleared them out of my fridge while I was away. Everything completely. He left me half a lemon. Aunt Valia stopped chewing her pastry. It can't be, Zinaida Pavlovna whispered, pressing her hand to her chest. Vadik? Vadim sat as red as a beet. She's exaggerating, he shouted. I'm having temporary difficulties. The startup is stalling. She counts every penny like a stingy miser. I took food from my mother. What's wrong with that? I'll pay it back. When? Larissa asked. When shoe insoles become sentient? Vadim, you stole my food just to pull the wool over your mom's eyes. You stole money from my card to buy this cognac that's sitting on the table. She stood up. Thanks for the hospitality. I think I'll be going. Larissa, wait. Vadim jumped up after her. You can't just leave like this. We're family, aren't we? We were family. She grabbed her purse. And now you, Mama's boy, go live with Mom and eat her pies? Just keep in mind, Zinaida Pavlovna, I won't be sponsoring his appetite anymore. She walked out into the hallway. Vadim ran out after her, grabbing her arm. You're bluffing, he hissed. Where will you go? Who would want you at 32? Larissa looked at him with pity. The way one looks at a bad tooth that has finally been pulled. The keys. She held out her hand. What? The keys to the apartment and the car. Right now, or I'm filing a report for theft and carjacking. He froze. Then, with a face distorted by anger, he threw the keys on the floor. Choke on them. You? I'll make millions and you'll come crawling back. Larissa picked up the keys, wiped them off, and left, slamming the door in his face. A week passed. Larissa enjoyed the silence. There were groceries in the fridge, and they didn't mystically disappear. The Wi-Fi was fast. The apartment smelled of cleanliness and not dirty socks. On Friday night, she sat on the sofa, drank wine, and watched a show. Her phone pinged. A message from Zinaida Pavlovna. Larissa, this isn't very Christian of you. Vadim is doing poorly. He's depressed. He lies in bed all day. Why did you block his number? He needs money for medicine and food. My pension is small. We can't manage. Take your husband back. Be a woman. Larissa smirked. She pictured Vadim now lying on his mom's sofa, devouring her pension, just like he devoured Larissa's salary. The doorbell rang. Vadim was standing on the threshold, a gym bag over his shoulder, looking like a beaten dog, but with that same arrogant glint in his eyes. Lur! Come on now, he began from the doorstep, trying to squeeze inside. I've realized everything. Mom's been nagging me. It's impossible to live there. Let's make up. I even updated my resume. He took a step forward, confident he would be let in. After all, they always let him in. An old habit of considering this territory his own. Stop! Larissa pressed her hand against his chest. What's wrong with you? He gave his signature smile, which used to work on her. I missed you, and I'm hungry. I've no strength left. Mom only has cabbage. At that moment, he noticed the delivery bags sitting in the hallway. Baguettes, greens, and a bottle of olive oil were sticking out of them. Oh, you went shopping. He cheered up. Remember, you talked about budget optimization a week ago. Well, you did have a salary after all. Go ahead, let him in. Larissa looked at him and couldn't believe she had lived with this man for 3 years. He wasn't even a parasite. He was mold, aggressive and sure of his right to exist. "Ah," she said softly. "Oh, get lost." The smile slid off his face. "What are you doing?" "I changed the locks with him yesterday. Your key won't work, and if you don't leave now, I'll call the police. By the way, my new neighbor is an Oman officer. He's very bored and itching to interact with someone." Vadim turned pale and took a step back. You'll regret this?" "I already regret wasting 3 years on you. And now, goodbye." She closed the door. The new heavy-duty locks clicked shut. Returning to the sofa, she picked up her phone again. The message from her mother-in-law was still unread. Larissa typed a reply. "Zinaida Pavlovna, there will be no money. Vadim is a grown man. Let him earn it." "Oh, right. He just stopped by, tried to barge in, and said you only have cabbage and he's starving." She sent the message and immediately followed it with a photo. The photo showed an open, full refrigerator. Steaks, fish, cheese, vegetables, cake, and caption, "This is my fridge. Entry by ticket only. The ticket costs 50,000 rubles per month. His share for rent and food. Tell him that if he asks. In the meantime, let him eat what he managed to get. Bon appétit." A minute later, the message status changed to read. Larissa put the phone down. She stretched, feeling her back muscles relax. The phone was silent. She imagined Zinaida Pavlovna reading it. The metaphorical morsel clearly stuck in her throat. Actually, no, Zinaida Pavlovna was a woman of action. 5 minutes later, the phone pinged again. It wasn't a reply. It was a bank notification. Incoming transfer of 5,000 rubles from Zinaida P. Message, "Don't let him in for groceries. He's eaten my brain raw. I'll deal with it myself." Larissa laughed out loud, honestly to the point of tears. This wasn't a victory over Vadim. It was a victory of common sense. For all her love for her dear boy, Zinaida Pavlovna loved her own money and nerves more. She realized the free ride was over, and now this golden boy was entirely her problem. And she, like a seasoned accountant of her own life, decided to minimize losses and returned the food money, just so Larissa wouldn't think they were conspiring against her wallet. An attempt to pay off and save face. Larissa donated those 5,000 to an animal shelter. Then she went to the kitchen, took out a steak, and dropped it into a hot pan. The meat hissed, filling the apartment with the aroma of searing freedom and peace. Her soul felt light. The fridge was full, and life, it seemed, was just beginning. And the first item in this new life was dinner, just for myself. Well, what can I say? The ending is a masterpiece, especially the transfer from the mother-in-law. As soon as she sensed expenses coming out of her own wallet, her beloved Sonny was suddenly unwanted. Friends, have you ever had to break your husbands of freeloading in such a harsh way? Share your experience in the comments. I'm very interested to read it. Take care of yourselves and your refrigerators.